I'll be there. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my show, Number Nine Talks, with so far Sean from Confeuds. Um, you were talking to me before the show started, the England game. I've not watched it myself. I've had the kids myself and running around right, and I've not watched it. So, could you talk any more on what's been going on? If anyone else has not watched it.
Well, I only caught the second half. Like I watched the highlights of the goals. Basically a Lukaku penalty, which was a Stonewall pen, personally. Henderson, who went down very lightly in the box, won a penalty. And even in an interview after the game, they were asked, like, it was awkward because the Sky interviewer was asking Henderson like that it was a bit light, and he started laughing. And he was like, "Oh well, I thought it was a pen, so like I went down." And Ashley Cole and Carragher were having a few digs, not digs, but they're almost like trying to defend it, but they knew it was wrong. They knew he went down a bit too lightly. And then a Mason Mount goal towards the end, in the second half, that took a massive deflection, went over the keeper's head. So seemed to be all right. They weren't that great in the first half. Kevin De Bruyne is unreal. Like some of the passes he can make, scary. And the funny thing is, as well, Lukaku probably looked the sharpest I've seen him in years. Probably leaving Manu's done him the world of good, to be fair. But yeah, we looked all right in the second half. Like got back into it.
But you say that about many of them, couldn't you? That
Yeah.
who have left Man U, they've gone on to
Di
have
Maria's another one.
better careers because it's sad to see because Man U are, and I hate to say this, coming from Newcastle fan, they are the epitome of English football.
Oh, yeah.
They've been champions for most of our English Premier League. And then you go on to the fact they've, it's been screwed up. Okay, you can look at Chelsea, foreign investment, from Roman Abramovich, and they've gone on to win the league, not straight away, but literally, off the bat. Yeah. And then you look at Man City. It took them 5 years before they won the league.
Yeah, there was a couple of one. They went through a few changes.
Yeah,
like I'm sure they brought in I think the first marquee signing was Robinho, if I'm not mistaken. And then obviously it just proved I think we're the first big team to prove that like money doesn't really matter. Like you could have all the money in the world, like, but it's not just an overnight success story. It takes time.
And then you look at Liverpool as well. They've had the Fenway Sports?
Yeah,
they took them over. They took a while to win anything. I mean, their fans were even calling for their heads. Sack the boards, sack the owners.
It's crazy, that, isn't it?
Yeah, and then we come out with, well, Ashley has done a fuck all for this team
for 13 years.
For 13 years. And then the Liverpool fans turn around and say, you should be glad of what you've got. And then you look and you go, hold on, you've won the league recently.
And the Champions League.
And the Champions League twice, I think, in that time, haven't they? No. No.
They got to a final, didn't they? And got picked in the final.
And then, you think, who's more deluded? You or me?
Yeah. What is there beef for the board? Is it like spending money or what?
I mean, you look back at the Blackburn title challenge.
Yeah.
A lot of people says they bought that league. Did they? Man U had superstars.
Yeah.
During the time. There was Liverpool who had superstars during that time. Blackburn come up and they bought an unknown in muchly in the shape of Sutton, and then an unknown really from Southampton.
Yeah.
In Alan Shearer.
Weren't they known as SAS or something?
Yeah, the SAS.
The SAS.
But everyone went
that's before my time. Like I just.
But you had it was David Batty in that team. Who else was there?
In the Newcastle team.
No, in the Blackburn team, Sherwood. There was quite a few good players, but it was brought together by the fact they went, well, we're going to win this league, and it was positive mentality. It wasn't just who they bought and how much they spent. It was you've still got to. I mean, you look at Fulham, spent over 100 million the last time in the Premier League in one window. What good did that do them? What good did that do them?
No. Well, it goes back like the Man U thing as well. When Ferguson was in charge, they didn't spend big. The biggest signing was Rooney, and the team that he won the league with was poor. If like the team was shocking, really. I think that's probably why he ended up like calling it a day, because he knew it was coming to an end. And they've spent millions and millions since, and they've won nothing. Well, they've won it. I think they've won a couple of cups, but that's about it. I'm really being like a massive challenger for the league.
I think it was the UEFA Cup's probably the bigger one.
Was that not with Mourinho as well?
Yeah. And, you look at Mourinho, I mean, he must be laughing his tits off. He must be. He must have gone there with his Spurs squad and gone, well, I think we can share this one because, we're a good, solid unit.
I bet they wasn't expecting 6-1, though.
Yeah, no one would be second 6-1. That's the word. And you can't go on to... I think Solskjaer is a good manager. I think he's shown that on the... where was he before? It was not Holland. Denmark team, wasn't it?
I'm not sure.
Where's Solskjaer from? It is Denmark, isn't it?
No, is he not Norwegian?
Norwegian. It was a Norwegian team he was with, wasn't it?
No, I'm not sure though.
I think he won the league twice. I mean, okay, in a league where it's, I wouldn't say it's poor. I don't agree with anyone saying any league is poor.
Yeah.
Anyone can beat anyone on any given day. I mean, you look at the Premier League. Who's bottom of the league? Possibly Fulham could beat Liverpool next. In the next few games.
They nearly did. The first game of the season.
That's the beauty of having a competitive league.
Yeah.
And then you look at the Scottish League. Everyone goes, "Oh, no one's ever going to beat the likes of Celtic and Rangers to the title." But then Rangers drop out of it because of their financial and governing game, whatever you want to call it, and they were relegated for it. But
I'm sure Mike Ashley bought in at that point as well.
Yeah, and they've come back, but it still is a competitive league.
No, it is.
Even if you've got Ross County at the bottom of the league in the Scottish League, they could beat Rangers, next week.
Yeah, I think
it's always keeping your leagues competitive.
Yeah. What do you think about this £15 pay-per-view crack? I mean, I'm guessing I know what you think, but I just
You've seen me on Twitter. I do not agree with it. I'm totally honest with you. The Premier League come out and said, this was years ago, we don't want to be showing every game in England on Sky, BT, ITV Sport. The list goes on. There's been many sports channels in England. And they said, we don't want to do that because a lot of the clubs are complaining that if you're showing the games on TV, there's going to be less people turning up the grounds. Now, for me, as a Newcastle fan, I would much rather be in St James's Park, enjoying a few pints with my mates and watching it literally live, in front of your face. Now, in watching on telly, it just does not have that same feel. You can't.
There was a lady on Twitter who was having a pop at football fans for being annoyed about it, stating the fact that if you're going to go and pay £30 to go and watch them, you're still paying for the same product. You're just watching it on TV. And I went back and I was like, realistically, you don't just pay for the match. That's probably the match is probably the least of it. You pay for like the sense of occasion and the atmosphere when you go to the ground.
That is exactly it. That is exactly it, and I completely agree with that. And I think the Premier League need to rethink the fact that there's fans. I mean, St James's Park holds 52,800 and whatever you want to say, but at the same time, you look and you think, right, there's let's say 400,000 people just in Newcastle itself.
Yeah.
Not everyone can get into the ground, and especially during the Keegan times and the Sir John Hall in owning the club, you couldn't get a ticket for love nor money. And I've been in that situation. I ended my season ticket years ago, and I've since tried to pick it back up. But at the time, I was still living up north. But you can't get the tickets for love nor money.
No.
And that's what a football experience, if that's what you want to give it. It's an experience. I took my wife to the Spurs game. It was 2-2, and it was Hossley who scored the equaliser. Oh no, was it not 2-1? It was Hossley that scored the equaliser, and I think it was Dele Alli who scored the winner. Can you remember that one?
I'm not sure on that. I can't remember Hossley ever scoring it, to be honest.
2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. So we did the whole match day experience. I says, right, I'm showing you Newcastle United because, she's from Derby.
Yeah.
So she's kind of away from it all. She hears me bleat on all the time about Newcastle United. But, to show someone who doesn't have a clue and to show someone the passion that is in Newcastle, and not just Newcastle. I mean, she has mentioned, and some of my family from Sunderland, they come up and says, why don't you talk about Sunderland? Why are you always talking about Newcastle? I says, well, I'm a Newcastle fan, so I'm not going to talk about Sunderland. But she says, I've been on a match day experience, or not just in the ground, but enjoyed the atmosphere, enjoyed the walking across. This is from a Sunderland point of view. Walking across the Weir Bridge. Everyone's wearing red and white. Even the little bands who are wearing the oversized strips, and it's cute, and I love it. But that's the passion of this area.
No.
Football. I mean, you say the same about Middlesbrough. Football is our what would you call it? Distraction from everyday life, and that's the way we treat it. I mean, you can look back to the times when we had the coal mines open. People working 6 days a week for 15, 16, 17 hours a day. Their distraction from it all was to go and watch and enjoy and be entertained by our football club.
Yeah.
Now, you can't say that in a minute. We're not being entertained. We're not being the only entertainment we're getting in a minute is a loaf of bread. Really, honestly, I mean, I was talking to Steve Hasty on from Steve Wraith's show, and he come up and he says, "Oh, this is the new picture from what's his name, the QC."
Oh, sorry,
the QC who's on our case.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're on about. I can't even think his name.
He posted another one, so it was all placed out again, and he took a photo of it, and we all kind of jumped in and went, how can we dissect this to mean something? And it was a fun game. It was, there's markings on the plate that's pointing to the northeast. There's this, there's that, and it was fun, and it was good time to be watching everything. It was, yeah.
But I suppose, with the whole takeover saga, like most fans have, like, Could get a degree in law now. Could get a degree in business.
Hilarious. It is hilarious. But it's it could be just a poor bloke who's I've had a hard day at work. This is what I'm having for my tea tonight. I've spent an hour and a half on my dinner tonight, and he's taking a picture of it. But we have all taken that as it's subliminal message. Let's have a look at this. With the Newcastle Brown Ale, the Guinness, best things come to those who wait. The bread cut down into 80% and 10% each. But it's fun. It's
bread being a slang term for money.
Oh.
I was trying to stir the pot like with you. That's sort of picture.
But yeah, it's always been good, and I look at Twitter as being fun and a fun place to be. But I know that people go, Twitter is the worst place to be because you get you get the backhanders and the do I care? I've come from a mental background of saying I don't care. Say whatever you like. But if you say anything to my friends, you say anything to my family, you say anything to my children, I will come over there personally and knock you out. But whatever you say to me, I don't care. I say to my wife, why are you married to me? I'm not an oil paint, So, but I don't care. I really don't. And it's, you can't be. So on this segment, there has been a lot of people who I've seen on Twitter has said, I'm struggling with mental health, and I took 15 paracetamol this morning, and it's horrible. And you don't want to be saying that. And the more people who can speak out, it's women find, give me the shit, give me the shit. But women find it easy to talk. Men don't.
No.
And men find it hard,
especially from the northeast.
Yeah, men find it hard to give their feelings and also to speak out to people. And unfortunately, this is something that needs to be addressed. I've suffered mental health over the past few years due to other problems in my life. But please, I put my hands together. Please get in touch. If it's not with me, you can see my handle there. Find one more.
Yeah, give me a shout as well, and you'll see take on
my pay. Yeah, and please do. We can all stick to this and to be together as not just fans, but as people who care.
Yeah. I've actually got a mate who works at the foundation, Newcastle Foundation.
Yeah.
And he's a big advocate of the Bear Game Changer.
Yes.
That they run. I've seen him putting stuff on about it all the time. They're great. They're a great outlet to speak to people and support.
Give a shout if he's okay to take these type of things.
Yeah, I'll speak to him. I might even I'll speak to him. Say even if he wants to come on a future stream at some point.
Yeah,
just discuss what it's about, like.
So right, we get on to we've done the international thing. We played Wales a couple of days ago, which was a good game, and I thought we were slow in the first half. But you can look at, a lot of these players have not been part of England's setup, so they're not have had as much time to be together, and especially during the COVID time. Training and traveling is a big, not a no, but you've got to stay within your bubble. So,
unless you're Phil Foden and Greenwood.
I knew that was coming up.
Just stir in the pot.
you look at England as a whole. I still think there's work to be done because the only time a player gets picked is if they're at the top of the game, and at the moment, if they're youthful at the top of the game, that's the only way they get picked. But there's many more I've seen down the leagues who could play a better game than some of the players who have been picked. You look at the championship. Who was it? Phillips from Leeds.
Yeah.
He was picked was it for the Wales game? Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was picked for the Wales game, and he come out and give a good account of himself. But because he wasn't in a Premier League team at the time, he wasn't picked. But as soon as Leeds come up, it was there you go, you got your place. Now, is that earned? Is that an earned place?
Yeah, it's almost like they try to say the players aren't good enough because the competition's not good enough if they're not in the Premier League. And even like in certain teams in the Premier League, you can get overlooked regardless of talent. I remember when like you never make it now, but I remember when Lascelles was coming through and he was meant to be he was tipped to be England captain in a couple of years. And then Chelsea wanted him. And I think if he went to Chelsea, he probably would have been in the England team. Certainly better than Maguire. But obviously, with him being a Newcastle player, he probably hasn't got that break that he might have got if he went somewhere else.
I mean, yeah, I agree with that. But how many of our squad would you say would deserve a place? I mean, we've already looked at Shelvey. He's a type of person who they could have taken in the last competition, just as an afterthought. To if you're battling, and that's the way games are played in European football and in world football, you're going to become up against strong opposition.
Yeah,
you need that person who's going to be, able to ping that ball, to pick up where many would fold it, but you can't take Shelvey just on that. I think on the Shelvey side of things,
I think his temperament probably lets him down.
He's lazy. I mean, we see him on the field, he's lazy. He can't be asked to get from one end of the field to the other, but is that his fault? Is it what he's been told to do? We can't make that judgment.
The funny thing was, he was like that when he came to us, and when Rafa took over, that's the first time I've seen Shelvey he lost a bit of weight, and he just used to run and run and run, and he was brilliant. But obviously he mustn't be on that same schedule now. Eh?
Yeah, he's too comfortable. That's why a lot of managers talk about having strength and depth. There's always someone who you can look behind you and say, I'm taking your place if you have a crap game. Yeah. I'm taking your place. And that's the way it should be. You should be always looking over your shoulder. Yeah. And, you look at the lower league, Premier League teams, the lower league, or top league championship. They are regular starters.
Yeah.
But if there's no one pushing that player or that group of players, then they're going to become too comfortable with what they do, and they're just not going to put in 100%. Or
that's what England used to be. England used to be the worst for that. It used to be the same setup of obviously Gerrard and Lampard in the centre, and obviously your Beckham's the golden age team. I think that's probably where they went wrong because they were picked no matter what. They could have a bad half season, they'd probably still get in the England squad.
So what would be your list? I mean, I've seen Darlow brought up as a possible pick for England goalkeeper. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be picked for the first team. What I'm saying, I know a lot of fans have been kicked in the teeth for saying this. Dahl deserves a pick, but I'm not saying Dahl deserves to be starting every single European game now, but it gives him a look into what he could achieve.
Oh yeah,
If you work even harder, you'll get the England team. Okay, you might be third choice or second choice, but if you work even harder from there, it's carrot and the stick, isn't it? You've always got to give every single player carrot and the stick.
yeah, and I think like, but the Gareth Southgate came out and said the team's going to be completely picked on form. If that was the case, I can't see any way possible how Pickford would be in the team, how Pickford would be in there. And another one I get alongside Darlow is, and it's not even that Darlow's the world's greatest keeper. It's just Pope, and Pope was terrible against us, and he has been for a couple of games. Pickford has let Everton down. If it wasn't for Calvert-Lewin, I think they wouldn't have half the points that they have got.
Yeah.
And another one's Dean Henderson, and I think it's a shame because obviously he's not going to get picked because he's second fiddle at Man U, and I can't like De Gea's not half the keeper he was, and I think it's a shame because I think he could be a really good keeper. He's played out his skin when he's played for Man U, I think.
With Henderson, yeah, he has played well, but I mean he had a good spell at Sheffield United, and it was probably one of their linchpins in that whole team. But then, you look ahead of you and you've got De Gea, who was always going to command that first spot.
Yeah.
And who's their second keeper at the minute?
Will it not be Henderson?
I'm not too sure. I think he might be still third.
Really?
Well, anyway, yeah. But it's he's a good keeper, and I think he is a keeper for the Man United future. But
yeah,
honestly, I would get rid of De Gea. They should have sold De Gea years back to Real Madrid, and they would have gotten a good price for De Gea as well.
Yeah. Do you think part of them keep playing him? Sorry,
Yeah.
go on.
No, sorry. Now I think you might get, I don't know, 20 million, 25.
Yeah.
I think a few years back you might have gotten about.
Well, they were looking at like 80, weren't they?
70. I think you would have gotten 70 for him.
Yeah. Do you think that's part of the reason they might continue playing him? Just to hope he finds a bit of form so they can offload him for
Hopefully.
a good price.
Yeah. But it's. We look at our goalkeepers over the years. I mean, God bless him, Cernicek. Wasn't the greatest. Wasn't the greatest goalkeeper, but he was a great shot stopper.
Yeah.
But he was good as a person around the dressing room. He was passionate. He was always driving the team forward. I think we've had Shea Given, Shaka Hislop, Tim Krul. They've all had different attributes, but you can't always stick with the best you've got or the best you can have.
Yeah.
Keegan always said, during his managerial time, the first time, he says, the only way I would ever buy was to improve in areas. So if I look at left back, if I can get a left back better than you, then you're out, kid. And that's the way he worked. It was looking at the best what you can get.
Yeah.
And you look at John Beresford, who I idolise. I love John Beresford. He was always my favourite player. I don't know why I love the left backs, but they're always the ones who are more attacking than any other player, I think, and they're also the more solid as well. I mean, you look at Dummett. He does foray forward on occasions, but he does actually give a good cross.
Yeah.
The box.
Yeah, I'm probably not Dummett's biggest fan, like.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate he's never got anyone in the box to actually cross it to, really. But I think he's solid in defence. every time he's on the field, I'm always comfortable in knowing that if there's an attack on him, he will battle it away every day of the week. He will.
See, my
But
player like that in the Newcastle defence is Kieran Clark. I love Kieran Clark. He's solid. He's like an old-fashioned defender.
yeah, but I think he gives away a lot of possession in
Yeah,
doing it. Whereas
I'd agree with that.
Dummett can give that extra dimension where he'll pass it rather than just boot it into row Z.
Yeah.
Just to make sure the ball's gone away from him.
Yeah, makes
Well,
sense.
that is my problem with Clark. He just boots it. He just goes, I'm a centre half, so I'm going to boot it into row Z or even out the stadium if I can. But with Dummett, I think he can deal with the situation and not just think, oh, I've got to play this ball out. He can think, right, I've got you ahead of me, so I can just pass it and let you go. You know, and I think that's his strength, other than the other defenders who we have in our team.
Yeah, you're probably not going to get a lot of nice things about Dummett off me, like.
But if you watch him, you'll see I'm right.
No. Like,
but yeah, I mean, you look at Yedlin, you look at on the right, you look at.
I used to like Yedlin. I think he's past it now, though.
Yeah, you look at Manquillo. You've got Fernandez, who's getting on a bit now.
Yeah,
Lost his legs, so he's one that's kind of looking to be playing it out of play all the time. You know, it's not just playing out of play and getting the ball away from your box. It's starting, to keep your composure and then play the ball out, and not just shit. Our goals is in trouble, so I'll boot it out the stadium.
Just to wait for the next attack.
Yeah, and then all it is just throw in, and then you're under pressure again.
Yeah,
that is the problem.
That makes sense.
But who would be your other people who you would pick for the England team at the moment?
We've already discussed it. It's like I know a few people have mentioned Shelby, but obviously we said he's like there's other stuff like around. There's more than just his football to worry about with Shelby. Like you can't always rely on not getting a red card or getting back when he needs to be. And I've always said Southgate won't play that type of football. The pinging it forward. The kind of football that Shelby fits into. I mean, to be fair, watching them lately, they have been doing that.
Yeah.
And they've been trying to force is it Dyer to play that kind of football? I think he's good for that, but it's almost like the I'm not even gonna say it. Because obviously like he can pick a ball, almost like Beckham could, but it's not enough. Like Beckham couldn't really take many people on, especially towards the back end of his career. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was watching him in a recent Legend game, and he can still pick a pass, no bother. He could still do it, but it's like, can you rely on the rest of his game?
Yeah. You look at Wilson, Hayden. There's a few players in there. I mean, you look at the Longstaffs. Could they become England internationals? You know, if given the time, really.
Yeah, I did. I was having this conversation with someone the other day about Wilson, being in over Ings, and Ings was unbelievable last season, but a lot of teams and players changed after the restart. Sheffield United being a massive one, like they weren't half the team they were after the restart. So going on like recent form, like Wilson's banging them in. I don't even think Ings has scored this season, if I'm mistaken. But obviously,
I think he has over kick, wasn't it?
Yeah,
England.
It was for England. That's on.
Has it scored one at club level? I'm not sure because I've not really been keeping up with every single game.
And it's just like, I mean, I know 4 games is quite a short amount to go off in terms of form, but it's got to be a good indicator that he's performing, especially scoring goals in a Newcastle team that's not hasn't been known for the amount of chances created for like years.
Yeah,
and he's still managed to get them. And he's in the right place. He reminds us of like a bit of a Defoe, where he's just in the right place. He just knows where to be as a striker. Like he's properly attacking minded. He's just in the right place, like a poacher kind of striker.
Yeah. I mean, I'm losing questions here. Right. So anyway, just a shout out to Alwaleed, LW Newcastle. How are the lads? So you got to give thumbs up for that. So you look at Newcastle as a whole. How have we done this season? And what would you say has been Bruce's highlights, and what has been your thoughts on the season so far?
I'm not surprised we're in we are where we are. I see a lot of stuff on Twitter having a pop our transfer window. Although I personally think it was a really good transfer window, but someone did make the valid point that once you've been abused as a club for so long, the little bit of kindness goes a long way, and it's almost blown out of proportion to be something bigger than it is. Yeah. But I'm so happy I actually brought a striker in, and I think it's really freed Joe Linton up. I think Joe Linton's coming in his own a little bit. Now the pressure's off him. I think we've actually found his position on the to the side or just behind the striker. I think it could be a lot worse. The Fulham's had an absolute stitcher. There's teams that still haven't won a game yet. And when I was watching on a fan feed stream with a Fulham fan, their defense is shocking.
It always has been. The last time they were in the Premier League, that was their main problem again, wasn't it? The defense was shocking. They had good attacking flair, good attacking team, but when it come towards them, it was, what do we do now?
Yeah,
and it's the same thing this year.
Like when I was watching them against Aston Villa, Villa could have scored about 5-6, and I said that to the fan that I had, and I was like, if Villa were a bit more clinical in front of goal that game, they could have scored about 6. Fulham was shocking, and I think when I was watching, I was like, Newcastle could cause these a lot of problems. And for a team, when a Newcastle fan says, "Oh, when someone thinks that or thinks Newcastle could cause you problems, you've got a problem."
Yeah.
And I try to use us as like the benchmark, whereas I think if Newcastle are going to cause you problems, you've got a problem in the league, because I almost say it's like the gatekeeper for that relegation zone at the minute. But I think with Wilson coming in, we're probably going to be safe this year, mid-table-ish. So I'm quietly confident. I don't think we're going to like take over the world with this team, but the thing that does worry me though is Saint Maximin's recent comments around if the club match my ambition, staying's a possibility. So if his ambition's clawing safety every season, then happy days, but I doubt it is.
Yeah, he is a talisman of. I think it was Adam Beckett who come up and says, we as Newcastle fans always look to the talismans, the heroes of the team, and he is the epitome of being a hero.
Yeah.
So if he leaves, there's going to be a lot of disgruntled Newcastle fans if he does leave, and then it'll become a. If he goes to somewhere like Man U, Man City, Liverpool, and we'll be looking on in envy because he's gone to your team, and we enjoyed watching you.
Yeah.
On the hallowed turf of St James's Park. So it becomes difficult for our club as a whole. We've had many. I mean, you look at we let go Steve Watson when we shouldn't have. We come
Yeah.
up the other day on Sky Sports. You look at Warren Barton, you look at the
Cool.
list goes on. Yeah, and we all look on in envy because you've stolen one of our fan favourites, and they've gone on to do possibly not better, but just as good.
Yeah.
Wijnaldum, I think was a name that came up the other day, and he left us as a relegated club, and become a European champion.
Yeah.
So and all sorts of
Sissoko. Yeah, I was thinking Sissoko there. Like, he's got,
and
like,
he
it
was,
begs the question. Like, if he didn't leave us, would he have been in that World Cup squad?
uh,
Because they're not short of players in those kind of positions, are they?
no, but we're overlooked as a club anyway.
Yeah.
There's not many people from any the country who's come to St James's Park and gone, "Yeah, I'm watching this play,"
Yeah.
And it's not good enough. We have had some really good talent, and not just talent, but youth as well. We've had some good youth come through, and they've ended up being on the scrap heap just because they're just not getting watched, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Rolando Aarons, probably one. He was heralded as being the next
Yeah, I remember that.
big thing in the team, but unfortunately, it never turned out that way. Niall Ranger, who thought he was a massive gangster, who would tote around with guns and what was it? Range Rovers with his own name on it and whatever else. But when he come onto the scene, he played a good game. He looked an exciting talent, but unfortunately, that kind of lifestyle went out the window.
It's mad. It's mad. It's mad when you think about that kind of mindset, though. Like, you've got the world at your feet, like becoming a professional footballer, and to choose to throw that away is mental.
Yeah. To choose a career and to choose a lifestyle that is going to be detriment to your career, I'd pick my career all the time, especially the money. Especially the money that's been touted now is just ridiculous. What's this? Do you think we've had good youth? Look at Southampton, for instance. I don't think we've had a workday class youth prospect in a long time. Now, yeah, I'd agree with that. We can't look at, but as a Newcastle fan, and I suppose that Sean would agree with me, we've had some good youth coming through that youth setup.
Carroll's another one.
It's not been given a chance, has it?
Yeah, given the facilities we've got as well. When your first team's taking ice baths and wheelie bins, I cannot imagine the training facilities being much better. I mean,
Paulie
like the youth
Belter.
facility. Sorry,
Paulie Belter.
Yeah,
I love that song. Ice bins.
the youth that did come from Southampton was awesome. Before Liverpool pillaged it,
Yeah.
and like Liverpool just took most of it, didn't they? Southampton that good season, and then Liverpool just stole a lot. I was trying to think the right word. I swear.
You look at Man U and you think, the youth talent that they brought forward. You look in envy because they've brought out, the likes of Beckham, Scholes, Gary Neville, Phil Neville. Okay, not many people agree with me with Phil Neville, but the list goes on. Nicky Butt, it's all the class of '92. But then you look at Southampton, who have brought forward, most of what Liverpool has. But then has Liverpool brought forward many youth during that time? And you can say, I think it was Crewe I think about 15 years back, were pulling out. It could be even 20 years back. We're pulling out the cream of the crop in youth. I mean, what was it? Danny Murphy was from Crewe, who played for Liverpool, and I thought he was a fantastic player.
Yeah, he was.
But you look at youth as a whole, we as Premier League teams forget to bring it out. It's just something there as a revenue to make money.
Yeah.
It's not just to develop a squad into a world beating team. It's to develop their bank balance.
Yeah. I say Chelsea's had quite a good few youth players come through in the time, haven't they? Just trying to think of the other ones. That Chelsea's has been awesome. Like they've had like De Bruyne has not come through.
Yeah, only now.
Yeah,
because De Bruyne was brought in as a young kid. He spent a couple of seasons out on loan, and they sold him.
Yeah,
and then it became a big player. But then it's the same with a lot of the Chelsea youth. They're sent out on loan.
Lukaku was another one.
Yeah, exactly, and they're losing a lot of the youth in this country.
Yeah.
Instead of paying 100 million for, say, Jadon Sancho, he could have already been in the English league anyway.
Yeah,
because he was already in England, but because he didn't make the grade, he was let go.
Man U did that with Pogba, didn't they? They let him go for nothing, and then bought him back for millions.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally only a couple of years later, I believe. Mental.
But you do. You've got to look at it's a sad turn of events. It's the Premier League to Liverpool, Steven Gerrard and Jamie Carragher. Okay,
that's a good shout.
Yeah, it is a good shout. But could Funny Face? What was Funny McFunface come out anymore? Robbie Fowler could probably be another shout on the back
Michael Owen.
Michael Owen. But for a well-renowned academy of Liverpool, they've not even brought out that many youth team players who made the grid because they were too scared to play the youth on the back of because we want success. So we're going to buy the cream of the crop abroad.
Yeah, it might. You never know actually, because COVID might bring this out in teams. To be fair, because we're teams now are playing like a massive volume of games. Like we're playing like obviously international break aside, playing like a couple of games a week in some cases.
Yeah.
And obviously teams don't have the money. Like Man U haven't really spent that much in comparison to what they previously would have. So teams may have to start looking to their youth.
Funny McFunface. Do you think the problem is with the big six? Yes, very much. Buy all the world-class youth and end up loaning them out because they don't reach potential. Yes, it is a massive. We've just said this. It is a massive problem because they want the best of the youth around the world, and unfortunately, they pay for all these players and then find out, well, we've got no place for you. So it is ruining a lot of youth teams' potential. I mean, like we said, with Chelsea as well, Man U, they've bought a lot of youth players. Newcastle have bought a lot of youth players who have never seen light of day. And yeah,
it's not even just youth players. To be fair, though, like obviously using Man City as an example, they bought Delphin, who was on cracking form at the time of going to Man City.
Yeah.
He's probably he doesn't see that many games. Mahrez is another one. It's a shame because obviously it would be good to see these players play. Whilst in that kind of form, but they just don't get the chance because a big team will buy them. It's almost like you're not buying them to play them; you're buying them so the threat's not there for somebody else to utilize.
it becomes a monopoly really for
Yeah.
the youth to come through, and it's sad for a big team or a big league as the Premier League are to be losing a lot of their investment or clubs' investments into English youth. But then, we sold Ivan Toney. I think it was something like 250,000 to Peterborough, and then they sold for 10 million to Brentford. So maybe we should have kept hold of these type of players.
Armstrong's another one.
Yeah,
Armstrong was lighting the championship up, and I don't know what the crack was for that, actually, to be fair, because I still don't see the reason why he didn't really get a fair run out, but there must have been something in it.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna have to cut this one short. Thanks for being on. I was waiting for Ted to come on, but no sign. So thanks for being on, and
No, mate, anytime.
Get you on another time, kid.
Spot on.
Thanks very much.
Right, catch you later, mate.
Cheers.
In a bit, bye.
Anyway, thanks very much for people who watched and commented. Please like and subscribe down below. It's been a good night. Missed out on a couple of people through the show, but I'll get them on as soon as possible. Thanks so much. Good night, you Reggies.